So the DNC has wrapped its convention. Kamala Harris is the official nominee now. And after watching many of the speeches, one of the things that really struck me was just how disingenuous a lot of it was. The dishonesty, the lies that were told. My initial reaction was to try and go through and kind of fact check some of the things that were said and correct the inaccuracies. But then I thought there were just so many. It would be days and days of work to do all that. And then I thought, well, maybe another approach would be to just simply review the policy positions of each candidate, since that's really what matters anyway. Rhetoric is just rhetoric, and these speeches that are given are more often meant to rally the base. And what we really are interested in are the policy positions. What do the candidates stand for? What are they going to do? But there was a problem with that, as Kamala Harris doesn't have any positions. If you go to her website, there's nothing there. She said nothing in her speech. She outlined no plan, gave no policy positions. We don't know anything about what she plans to do. One of the few things we know she wants to do is to not tax tips, which is directly stolen from Trump's platform. She says she wants to fix the border, but the borders are now. Why didn't she fix it? The problem exists because she has failed to do anything about it already.
Okay. Do you have any plans to visit the border?
I'm here in Guatemala today. At some point, we are going to the border. We've been to the border. So this whole thing about the border, we've been to the border. We've been to the border.
You haven't been to the border.
And I haven't been to Europe.
So anyway, putting all this aside, I thought, you know what? There's actually a better way to approach all this that puts aside the rhetoric, puts aside the policies, and simply looks at the record. Because we are in a unique situation where we actually have a first term of each candidate to look at. We had the first 4 years of Donald Trump, and we had the first 4 years of Biden-Harris. Now, Biden is no longer on the ticket, but I think we have to assume that a Harris administration is going to be mainly a continuation of the Biden administration. And since she has listed no policies whatsoever, that's really the only assumption we can make at this point, I suppose. So let's look at that. Let's just simply look at the record. Let's look at what happened. Let's look at the results of both administrations. And I think there's one simple question that you must ask yourself. And it's the same question that Ronald Reagan asked.
Are you better off than you were 4 years ago? Is it easier for you to go and buy things in the stores than it was 4 years ago? Is there more or less unemployment in the country than there was 4 years ago? Is America as respected throughout the world as it was? Do you feel that our security is as safe, that we're as strong as we were 4 years ago?
And I think it really is that simple. And I'll just leave you with this. I'll leave you with what Kamala Harris has to say about the past 4 years.
Everyday prices are too high. It feels so hard to just be able to get ahead. The bills add up. Food, rent, gas, back to school clothes, prescription medication, the cost of food. A loaf of bread costs 50% more. Ground beef is up almost 50%. There's a serious housing shortage. The price of housing has gone up. It's too difficult to build, and it's driving prices up. It is out of reach. The size of down payments have gone up as well. Costs are still too high. There's not much left at the end of the month.